Hey everyone, Kyle Walker here. If you love cars, fixing things, or just want to understand your vehicle better, you're in the right place. I share hands-on tips, smart driving advice, and straight-up car talk without the fluff. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around till the end. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get into
Proper
it.
operation of all systems, assemblies, and parts ensures safety on the road. Do not underestimate the importance of any small things in the car design, especially when it comes to the power unit, because even a loose bolt can cause a lot of trouble, including the failure of an expensive mechanism. Piston rings play an important role in the internal combustion engine. Their wear directly affects the functionality of the motor, provoking loss of performance and excessive consumption of engine oil and fuel. If there is a question of replacing the elements, it is important to choose the right parts for replacement because errors in selection can lead to unpleasant consequences for the engine after repair. Purpose of piston rings. The cylinder in an internal combustion engine is a displacement chamber where the piston, which has a cylindrical shape and is close in size to the cylinder, makes reciprocating movements inside it, providing expansion of compressed gases, which are products of combustion of the fuel-air mixture. Despite the virtually airtight connection and tight contact between the surfaces, there is still a small gap between these elements. It is impossible to allow gases formed as a consequence of the combustion process and engine oil from the crankcase. Why and need piston rings, preventing this. Thus, the task of compression rings is to prevent the penetration of gases from the chamber into the crankcase by maintaining tightness. Oil rings are designed to prevent oil from entering the crankcase by regulating the amount of oil on the cylinder walls. A small amount of gas penetration can be observed even when using high-quality rings on a serviceable unit, but this is normal. The operating conditions of the components are tough, so the high temperatures and friction inherent in engine operation cause them to wear out over time. At the same time, worn parts allow more gases to pass through. So if you do not take care of their replacement in time, the overhaul of the power unit is likely. The functionality of piston rings provides a tight fit between the surfaces of the piston and cylinder. The right amount of oil on the cylinder walls, sufficient for sliding, but not penetrating into the chamber, prevents overheating and corrosion of the pistons by dissipating heat from the pistons to the cylinder walls. High-quality piston rings are thin, because then they ensure that the pistons do not vibrate when the power unit operates at high speeds, and also reduce friction with the cylinder wall. For a low-power motor use and wide, they will quite cope with the task and will cost less. What materials are used for manufacturing piston rings? Today, the auto parts market does not experience any shortage and is able to offer the consumer a huge selection of piston rings of all colors, differing in quality and price. The manufacturer also plays a role, as well-known brands use only high-quality materials and innovative technologies, manufacturing products on modern equipment. Taking into account the cost of production on the cheapness should not and hope, and it is important to beware of fakes. There are also not the most advanced manufacturers of auto parts, but also producing quality products at an average price. Puzzled by the question of how to choose the right piston rings, it is worth paying attention not only to their diameter, but also to familiarize yourself with the range of materials from which the parts are made. On the properties of the material depend on such characteristics of elements as durability and performance indicators, because the parts are forced to work in extreme conditions. Thus, when choosing the first compression ring, it is important to take into account the peculiarities of its operation in conditions of oil starvation, accompanied by increased temperature. They are subject to high requirements for heat and wear resistance. Most often the material is cast iron with molybdenum coating. In the manufacture of piston rings are used cast iron. The material composition allows good oil retention, which extends the service life of the element. Plastic cast iron has the same basic alloy properties and is also characterized by its elastic deformation capability, which greatly facilitates installation. Chromium coating of cast iron products provides heat resistance and anti-wear qualities. Alloy steel has been used relatively recently. It is coated with porous chromium or tin, which provides better resistance to high temperatures than cast iron. Molybdenum. Cast iron, coated with molybdenum, is used today more often due to the possibility of increasing the resource and performance characteristics of parts. Read also, what to choose between carbon and conventional cabin filter. The upper ring, which is responsible for regulating the oil supply, is coated with chromium, tin, or nitrides using plasma spraying. A vacuum-applied ceramic coating can also be used. It is better not to save on the quality of the material because low-grade products burn at work at a high rate, so that the car owner will have to deal with regular periodicity to replace the elements. To protect yourself from counterfeiting, it is better to purchase products in specialized centers or from reliable dealers. Design of piston rings. For many modern motors, there are 3 rings per piston that have a slightly larger diameter than the piston, with some of the elements cut out. The cutout, which is essentially the distance between the 2 ends of the loose rings, is called the lock. On top of the piston, the elements are placed so that the locks are not lined up at the same level. Slots are an attribute of all types of rings and serve the purpose of compensating for the thermal expansion inherent in metals under the influence of high temperatures. A one-piece design would only increase the already existing stress on the pistons and cylinders. The thermal clearance is 0.6 to 0.3 millimeters. The lateral clearance with the piston surface is 0.08 to 0.04 millimeters. If the permissible values are not met, the motor performance will be reduced. The efficiency of the heat dissipation function is ensured precisely by the clearances. 2-stroke gasoline units with crankchamber blowdown use only compression rings. The cross-section is usually rectangular. The edge has either a cylindrical profile or a chamfer. The oil drain rings can be either cast iron with a slit or made of steel. The composite element consists of thin rings, upper and lower, as well as 2 expanders, radial and axial. Steel rings are used more often than cast iron, which is due to the low cost of production. Types of piston rings. Elements planted in the piston grooves differ depending on their purpose. Piston rings are compression rings, the purpose of which is to prevent the seepage of gases into the crankcase and oil removing excess grease from the surfaces of the cylinders. Sets of parts can include a different number of them. In old engines it was up to 7 elements. Today most often used a set of 3 elements installed in this sequence: upper compression ring, second compression ring, oil ring, consisting of 3 parts, upper and lower plates, between which there is a tangential expander. On sports cars with boosted engines, assuming operation at high speeds, the set is often presented in the form of 2 elements. At the same time, depending on the brand and modification of the car with a gasoline engine, other variants can be used. Automakers, in an effort to improve the design, resort to different design solutions, increasing the characteristics of the elements. Upper compression piston rings of this type have an outer diameter slightly larger than that of the cylinder for placing inside are equipped with a lock, and their surface is characterized by smoothness. Modifications of parts of this type are many. They are responsible for working up with the walls of the cylinders. Then, when a twisted structure is used in the basis of the element, the tightest fit in the groove of the cylinder is ensured. Read also, is it worth starting in the car anti-skid mat lower and oil seal the second compression ring, located in the middle, has a closer contact with the groove, and its task is to create an obstacle to the entry of gases and oil. That is, the part provides normalization of the amount of lubricant between the upper element and the oiler, while the latter removes oil from the walls to the fullest extent. In contrast to compression rings, the oil ring is equipped with through slots that facilitate the removal of lubricant. The element is installed below the previous parts. Modern power units assume the presence of 1 ring for each piston, previously used more, and on gasoline 2-stroke engines with crankchamber blowing. This component of the design is not present at all, since it is not necessary. In such units, oil burns together with fuel. Which rings are better? Manufacturers offer the consumer a large number of options. In the market of auto parts, you can find a variety of parts made with different materials. A motorist who is not faced with the choice of elements is difficult to determine which piston rings are better to put. Materials used in the design, coating, tolerances, as well as the geometry of the rings are different in different variations. It must be taken into account when selecting. Maximum load during the operation of the engine falls on the upper ring, so they are usually made of high-strength cast iron and coated with chromium or molybdenum to increase wear resistance and reduce friction in contact with the surface of the cylinder. An important role is also played by the manufacturer of the parts. Which of them is the best is a controversial issue. Today, even an experienced motorist can get lost in their variety. To get at least a little orientation when buying, it is worth paying attention to the rating of manufacturers. Glico, the world leader in the production of auto parts. The country of manufacturer is Germany. The cost of products is high, but the quality is comparable to the original parts. The company produces spare parts for more than 5,000 brands of engines. AE is the most famous brand. Among the huge range of products, there are unique parts for French cars. The country of origin is Great Britain. Northeast, German company produces budget piston rings of decent quality, is a supplier to the assembly line of Japanese cars Honda, Mazda, Hyundai, Kia, Nissan, Mitsubishi, Toyota, Subaru, Suzuki, and so on. Kolbenschmidt, German manufacturer, produces filters and parts of the motor group of high quality. Mall Original, manufacturer of piston group parts of very high quality. The price tag is not cheap. The company's plant is located in Germany, from where deliveries to the assembly line of Audi, BMW, Ford, Fiat, Honda, Hyundai, Nissan, Opel, Skoda, Toyota, Volkswagen, and others are carried out. SKF is a Swedish company that is one of the world's largest manufacturers of bearings, lubrication systems, and mechatronics. Production is carried out at more than 140 plants in 32 countries. Ashika, the assortment of the Italian brand, includes the motor group. The products are suitable for repair of vehicles of Asian, European, and American origin. Original spare parts for Hyundai, Deo, Kia cars are produced. Goetz is a well-known manufacturer of piston rings, as well as the brand Neural, which produces pistons and cylinders for various types of engines, belongs to the German concern Federal Mogul. The products are supplied to the assembly lines of the world's auto giants Ford, BMW, Fiat, Renault, and others. It should be noted that the auto parts market is full of fakes from many well-known brands, which have proven themselves to be of high quality. To protect yourself from buying counterfeit, it is better to buy products from trusted dealers, official representatives who have certificates for all products sold and provide documents at the first request of the buyer. In conclusion, understanding piston rings is essential for anyone involved in engine maintenance or performance enhancement. We explored the various types of piston rings, including compression, oil control, and scraper rings, each serving a unique purpose in ensuring optimal engine function. The selection of the right piston ring is crucial, as it can significantly impact engine efficiency, longevity, and overall performance. By considering factors such as material, design, and application, you can make informed choices that lead to better engine performance. Thank you for watching, and we hope this information helps you in your automotive endeavors.